tooth face, the waist. Well, thicky. I love it. What? What? Also, you are wearing like half of a wife beater. Like, you couldn't even. What?
No, you could explain it. So to start the show, Jordan was counting us down. He asked us, are we ready to go? He starts counting down. And then as he's counting down, Jordan wanted to explain, or Eric wanted to explain to Jordan what he's wearing. So what is Jordan wearing today, Eric?
Rags. He's wearing like two little rags here, and it's open chested, starting like halfway down his sternum. And so all I'm doing is staring at Dude Bro Chill Life in the flesh. I mean, this is crazy even for Jordan Klein standards.
So Jordan looks like he hasn't showered in a considerable amount of time. Jordan, you
True.
absolutely not showered today, correct? Okay.
Oh, way.
Also,
don't believe you.
I've never seen the collar of a shirt that stretched out before. Yeah. So there it is. So, all right, maybe he has showered today, but he has not changed clothes in multiple days. There we go. And he also absolutely did not wash his hair in the shower. Zero chance of that. Yeah.
There's not a chance in God's green earth. But I
mean,
mean,
baseball show today too. 3-game slate as you guys come in. Like the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're sponsored by Prize Picks today. We'll talk more about Prize Picks and some of our favorite props over there as we go. But if you guys have not signed up at Prize Picks, you should be doing so using the link we have below, because that is going to get you up to a $100 bonus on your first deposit and 1 free month of Stochastic Plus Platinum. So, like I said, we'll talk more about Prize Picks and our favorite props there later on. A little bit of a slow burn today because 3-game slate. We're going to be able to talk about basically every single pitcher stack individually. Eric, how are you doing other than being very distraught by Jordan's appearance today?
I think I'm just going to be staring at Jordan the entire show. I just put him to the top of my Zoom window. You know, you always have like a priority ranking of like where you want to be looking, how you want to be looking at your other analysts and doing things. I made Jordan Klein front and center. I'm not going to even switch to your Zoom view the entire time. I'm going to watch Jordan Klein throughout this entire show because I just can't believe he's wearing a shirt that literally is like this.
Yeah, I am. He's showing a lot of cleavage. And by the way, I have Jordan pinned on my screen.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah,
that's the word I was going for.
His nose now, but neither here nor there. Jordan Klein, the producer, he came ready to go for today's 3-game slate, which is a rough one, right? Because 3-game slate, we don't really have the best pitching options. We don't have the best stacks or anything. I am personally only going to be playing one lineup for today's slate. But I'm curious, Eric, is there anything you would do about this slate to approach it differently than, say, a 7 or 8-game slate? Are you willing to stack against your pitchers for this one if you were playing multiple lineups?
Yeah, so this is kind of where I go over to Fantasy Cruncher. And I did a little bit of this before the show because it's always fun to see what some of the top players are doing. You can look directly at what people are doing and how many batters you should be playing against your pitcher in these type of scenarios. Now, I think there's a couple of ways to approach it, and I think every slate is different. Because the totals are so low already, I'm probably going to extend this to maybe 2 batters as opposed to just 1 batter against my pitcher, mainly because I'm not expecting a ton of runs going up against anybody here on this slate. We have all these totals that are sitting at 7 or 7.5. And then I think just the opportunity cost isn't very high to position. You're trying to target a solo home run here or a certain batting event there that maybe doesn't completely destroy your pitcher. Now, there's negative correlation there for sure, but you're also avoiding all the duplication of people who never play a batter against their hitters. So I'm more inclined to go to 1 as kind of the standard number, but I'm considering putting 2 into play. How about you?
So for me, if I was playing 150 lineups or if I was playing any significant amount, the answer would be 1. That's how I would go about building my lineup. So me just playing 1 lineup in single entry, I didn't do any hitters against my pitchers just for the 1 lineup I built, but I don't have an issue with 1 for a 3-game slate. Depending on certain scenarios, I think you can make a case for 2. But for this particular one, I would just stick it to 1, mostly because when I was running lineups to upload into our Sims tool, it wasn't too restrictive to the point where like I couldn't build 2,000 lineups by having it set to 1. That
makes sense. Again, that was exactly kind of what I was getting at, where I'm making 3 lineups today. I got things to do. I got places to be. Don't really feel like playing 150 on this specific slate. Feels a little bit thin. Just trying to find leverage, trying to figure out what the edge of this slate is. I think it's honestly just your roster construction being allowing yourself to get to one batter against your pitcher. I think just doing that alone probably gives you a leg up. Now, it is 2023 DFS. This isn't something that's unknown to a lot of people, but yet it seems like as you go down in stakes, people are still less willing to do it. So I would be prioritizing that if I were playing 150.
All right, so let's start talking about some of the pitchers. And, it's Shane McClanahan, then kind of everybody else. Now, with that said, and we'll talk about DraftKings and FanDuel differently. We got all the time to cover all the topics today. If you guys have any questions, comments for us, go at us in the Discord channel. We could answer any questions you have. Are you surprised, starting with DraftKings, that Shane McClanahan is not projected for just an insane amount of ownership? Because he's projected to be the most popular pitcher, right around 60%. But I honestly was thinking this could be like a 70-80% owned pitcher.
It probably is if you're playing in something like the 3-3-3 and the 121 single entry. If you're playing in something like that, I expect him to be higher owned than that. I think it makes sense. I mean, it really depends on what you see, because everybody's total is right there. And the thing about McClanahan is he gets the great matchup. He's still at home, which is, even though Tampa Bay continues to hit homer after homer at home, it's still a good pitcher's park. And he's got a 27.2% K rate. But I mean, I would probably be underweight if I were playing more lineups. I'm playing him in 2 of 3. So, I mean, I'm about to be holding hands with everybody, it would seem. But I think it's probably about appropriate. What you're thinking that he's going to be 75-80% in like the $15? Hello?
I'm looking at his projected ownership, and
it's tough. It's a tough problem to solve.
I'm going to say, so in like single entry, I think he's going to be more than 60% owned.
I 100% agree with that.
I'm going to guess like 80.
Okay. I would go 75 if I'm talking about like the 121, which that's like your tournament. I think he'll be 75% in that.
And with that said, I am just playing him today, right? I'm playing one lineup. I'm just playing McClanahan. I don't really see a whole lot of leverage in stacking against him tonight. And I mean, that's kind of what I do in this tournament a lot, is I stack against the, super popular pitcher. But the other thing too to consider is that it's a smaller prize. It's a smaller prize pool today. There's less entrants. So I don't really feel the need to, like yesterday, like I played the Oakland A's in that tournament. And you would think that Kansas City would kind of be the same, but not really quite. Because I actually do think Kansas City is a worse offense than Oakland. And I just don't like the pitching options. If I'm stacking the Royals, I don't like the pitching options it gets me on outside of McClanahan. Then
Jordan Klein, wrong pitchers put on the night slate, by the way. Everybody wants you to know that. Everybody wants to know you're banging in your white tee, but yet you can't. No, we're not even going to go there.
So that's the problem with me.
It's too busy looking sexy. That's the problem.
Yeah. I've just been focused on Jordan's big arms and his cleavage the entire show. I haven't been looking at what's actually on the screen. That's too engaged for Jordan.
DK Knight.
See where it says DKNT? It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one to click on. There we go. So anyway, Shane McClanahan, super popular. I'm totally fine with him. I'm just playing him. No real issue with Shane McClanahan. But beyond him, everybody's really close in ownership, Eric. We've got Braxton Garrett, 42% owned. Mitch Keller, 32%. Brian Wu at 34%. Domingo Germán at 32%. Then you got like the bullpen situation for the Royals. So no real significant amount of ownership there. Of the other pitchers, we're going to do this a couple ways. Number one, who is your favorite non-Shane McClanahan pitcher? And then who is your least favorite non-Shane McClanahan pitcher?
My favorite is without a doubt Mitch Keller. He's heading into Miami. He's given up 4 earned or more in 4 of his last 5, and I still really don't care. This total's gone from 7.5 minus 105 to sitting at 7, juiced above minus 110, minus 115, minus 120 across the entire industry right now. And a lot of that has to do with the matchup. A lot of it has to do with the absence of Brian Reynolds now in the Pittsburgh lineup. But Mitch Keller, I'm not worried about. You go through some of his velocity in the game logs, and things still look fine. 97, 98. Now, is he expecting? Are we expecting maybe a little bit of negative regression based on his 2022 sample size, and then how hot out of the gate he came in 2023? I think that that's fair. But this is a Miami team with a 93 WRC plus and some absolute opportunities to mow down some dudes at the back half of this lineup at least. 22.3% K rate isn't exactly the highest, but I think he could pitch long into this game. It's a huge ballpark upgrade for any pitcher going into Miami. I don't see how I get away from that in my main lineup.
So for me, my favorite, and then we'll do the least favorite. My favorite is Brian Wu. And you know what's funny?
He's my second favorite, but I get it. Yeah.
You know what's funny, though, is because I was looking at some of Brian Wu's projections, and it kind of went through the discussion we had yesterday where you said that what young pitchers project well in some of these projection models.
None.
Brian Wu actually projects outstandingly well. So Brian Wu, if you look at Steamer, depth chart, the bat. So the consensus on Brian Wu is that his Fairtown level right now is a guy with an ERA expected in the mid threes, and then his strikeout rate projects right around 26%. So when you're talking about young pitchers that actually are projecting really well, Brian Wu is one that models are assuming he is big league ready right now, despite the fact that he's only 23 years old. He wasn't even really a ranked prospect coming into the year, but outstanding minor league numbers this year, 2.05 ERA, 2.77 FIP, and the strikeout stuff at every single level of the minor leagues he's pitched in has always been excellent. He has never had in the minor leagues a strikeout rate less than 30%. Now, we've only seen a limited sample size of him so far at the big leagues. He's made 3 starts. In those 3 starts, though, a 37.7% K rate, a 3.8% walk rate. There have been a lot of really encouraging signs from Brian Wu. I know a lot of people might just point at the ERA, which is shitty at 7.3. Everything else for him looks fantastic, though. Projections look good. The underlying results look good. The strikeouts look good. He's cheap. He's going up against a banged-up Yankees team. So Brian Wu is somebody who I love as a cheap pitcher, and he's my favorite non-Shane McClanahan pitcher.
I played him in single entry against the White Sox. It was like last Friday, I believe it was. It was the Friday slate because I was on the road. But I am pretty convinced he's going to have some ridiculous K stuff at the big league level as well. You work through some of his pitch mix, and that combination of fastball slider, if he can get to that slider against righties, it is lethal. Like, it's pretty much unhittable. It falls off the map. A lot of vertical movement. I like pretty much everything about Brian Wu in terms of his pitch mix. I think the huge question is, can he continue to have a 2.60 expected ERA? I know it's resulted in a 7.30 ERA. That's what the Texas Rangers will do. They just BABIP'd him to death in that 2 or 3 inning sample size he had in that very first appearance. But I'm with you where I think the stuff is really, really good. And I want to still attack this Yankees lineup. I still do not believe it with the absence of Aaron Judge. I don't know what has gotten into Billy McKinney. I don't believe it for a second. Now, they have gotten to that top 4 of LeMahieu, Torres, Rizzo, Stanton again. But the entire back half, Harrison Bader, I don't believe anything we saw early on in the season with him. Billy McKinney, same thing. Higashioka being the catcher there. Volpe, who's got a 43.6% hard hit percentage, but 222 expected batting average. I think he's worthy of it for sure as kind of a contrarian option to get to. Now, nothing's that contrarian on today's slate, but he's still got positive leverage, whereas we're projecting McClanahan and Garrett as the 2 main guys who don't.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, with Brian Wu, the price point makes a difference. He's only $6,200 on DraftKings, so he offers a ton of salary savings. He is the cheapest reasonable start unless you're going Austin Cox, but don't go ahead and play Austin Cox. So of the pitchers we have that are actually viable today, he is the cheapest on DraftKings at $6,200 and really good top 2 value odds. We have a 54% chance to be one of the top 2 value pitchers on DraftKings. Now, the other side of this, Eric, who's your least favorite starting pitcher today?
Domingo Germán by a long shot.
Yeah, it is the same for me, Domingo Germán, and I'll probably just end up building my single entry lineup on the show because why not?
Why not? Yeah, Seattle's my stack in my main lineup.
Yeah, Seattle for me. If you look at all the pitchers, Domingo Germán is somebody I've never really been high on at all, and his results this year have not been good. The underlying numbers aren't good. He doesn't project well. He doesn't generate a lot of strikeouts. Also, a trend that's continued this year. He entered the big leagues in 2017, Eric, his velocity has dropped every single season since he first entered the big leagues. Does it mean anything? Not exactly, but I do find it to be interesting at the very least. And, I also question, what is his commitment to baseball? He retired at one point when he was suspended for domestic violence, and he came back. He's looked significantly worse since returning. The velocity has come down. And you're talking about a pitcher who came into the big leagues with an average fastball velocity of 96.1 miles per hour. He's had all these off-field issues. He's shown some questionable commitment to baseball, like retiring while he was suspended. And now his fastball velocity has dripped all the way to 92.6, 4.3 ERA, 4.55 expected ERA. And the strikeout rate just not really there anymore. 23% this year, 19.5% last year, the two lowest marks of his career. So I'm pretty low on Domingo Germán, not just this year, but going forward. And I don't really see a lot of optimism there. So I get that he's cheap. That would be one reason to get to him, but it's not even like he's contrarian either. The way that I would want to get to Domingo Germán on this slate is if he offered us some kind of significant ownership relief versus other pitchers. But that's not the case. He's projected for 32% ownership. Mitch Keller's projected for 32% ownership. Brian Wu, 34%. They're really similarly grouped together. And I just think Wu is the best of those options, and ownership doesn't look like a concern.
I have nothing to add to that. That's pretty much exactly the way that I feel. I noted last night, Wendy's leans, likes, and locks. Yeah, same exact thing. Domingo Germán, velocity keeps dipping. He's going to that curveball as a primary pitch, and you go through some of the expected slugging numbers on that. That's kind of been his path to survival so far this season. 337 expected slugging. That usage has gone up from 34 it was in 2021 to 37, all the way up to 41%. Eventually, what you start doing too in those scenarios is you start walking guys. And eventually there's going to be one of these starts where he just gets completely bombarded. I think Seattle has enough speed at the top of that lineup, enough power throughout it where, is today that day? I don't know, but I got to assume, considering he's 32%, that there was no way I was going to get away from Seattle with this kind of ownership for Germán.
Yeah, no, I am also leaning towards Seattle. I have a dummy lineup in where Seattle is my primary stack, but still not totally committed to it. We'll see. We'll talk about it as we go. And also, because I saw somebody in chat bring up that the Mariners have a right-hand dominant lineup. Well, Domingo Germán's actually better against lefties than righties.
Yep.
Reverse splits pitcher. Domingo Germán is worse.
Always has been.
Yeah. So we've got for the year, righties have a 333 WOBA against Domingo Germán. Lefties have a 260 WOBA. So righties actually more what you're typically looking to play against Domingo Germán than the lefties. Sean V disagrees. I do not give a fuck. All right, let's talk about some of the pitchers from a FanDuel perspective now. So if we go and look over at FanDuel, obviously it's all the same pitchers we're talking about, but there are some different strategies to consider where you're only rostering one pitcher. So with that in mind, there's also different price points. Domingo Germán is $8,700 on FanDuel as opposed to $6,900. Brian Wu is $6,500 on FanDuel. Eric, Shane McClanahan, $11,000 projected for 46% ownership on FanDuel. If you're playing one lineup on FanDuel, would you go to Shane McClanahan or would you go to somebody else at pitcher?
Mitch Keller again. I just like the spot. Again, $800. Maybe you run into a spot where you're running into some type of overlap in terms of what your builds are going to look like, but not really. It's baseball, and you can easily get to a contrarian stack along with a contrarian pitcher there in Mitch Keller, and you have no problem. You could play a chalky team with Mitch Keller. If he's going to be pulling just 17.5% ownership, I like him way more than I like him and Braxton Garrett, but Braxton Garrett appears to be pulling more ownership right now. We have a top 1 percentage there, just slightly ahead for Mitch Keller as well. I'm a little bit surprised that Miami's carrying a 4.1 opposition total in our projections here right now as well, but positive leverage. I know Brian Wu is on the board for you there, but I'm still going to go with Mitch Keller simply because I think there's less likelihood where he's going to be getting pulled before 95, 100 pitches or so. And because of the K rate, I don't think people are going to be exactly sleeping on him. It's going to be very interesting, but I think just looking at the projections straight up and looking at the ownership, Mitch Keller is still my guy.
We got a super chat here, and I'm going to answer that in a second as well. But super chat from Corey Allen. Corey's asking us, Shane McClanahan is plus 115 on Fliff to get a win. Can you line shop it? So I was just because I read your super chat and looked around a couple of things. Number one, I don't see a line better than plus 115. DraftKings, for instance, has it minus 130. One thing I did think it's kind of funny. I think the line is mispriced on DraftKings. Shane McClanahan is minus 130 to record a win. He's plus
They're
130
minus
to not record a win.
Well, and they're minus 330 favorites.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell.
Yeah, actually, that's a market that I actually do like betting quite
a good
bit.
bet.
When you get the massively favored starting pitchers, a lot of times you find weird odds on them to pick up a win. But yeah, for whatever reason, DraftKings is offering a market with no vig, minus 130 for Shane McClanahan to get the win, plus 130 to not get the win. So if you wanted to, for no reason other than to rack up rewards points, go put like $130 on him to get the win, $100 for him to not get the win. You're going to break out even for the day, but you get your crowns bonus.
Minus 130 on DraftKings is what it was.
Minus 130 to get the win and plus 130 to not get the win.
I am doing some things. That sounds fun.
Oh, look at you.
What a great find. What a great find. I like people.
So I used to really like this market until DraftKings didn't let me bet money on their sports book anymore, which makes it like, what's the point? Like, oh, cool, I'm going to go put $18 on Shane McClanahan to get a win to it. Like, it's hard to really give a shit. Like, I was trying to bet draft props on DraftKings earlier, and it was like, hey, your max bet is $1.89. And it's like, oh, this is a waste of time. But anyway, Corey Allen, I don't see a better line than plus 115 on Flith anywhere. Go bet it. I think it's a really strong bet.
It's a phenomenal bet. I am getting myself attached to such things.
As for me on FanDuel, Brian Wu is projected for 5% ownership on FanDuel. 5%. When you're playing a single pitcher site, and by the way, our odds, our projections of him being the top scoring pitcher on FanDuel, 18.3%, relative to 5.6% projected ownership. It is hard to be contrarian a pitcher on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you play Brian Wu. I think you have reasonable upside and no ownership. So I like Wu over on FanDuel. $6,500. He's by far the cheapest starting pitcher. There's no ownership there. And every other pitcher, like Domingo Germán, project for 11% ownership. Braxton Garrett, 19%. Mitch Keller, 18%. I just don't believe these pitchers are 2, 3, 4 times more likely to be a top scoring pitcher relative to Brian Wu. And he offers a lot of salary savings.
Sean V, though, I tell you, he really doesn't like that play. He calls it a terrible play. So I can't go against my guy, Sean. I would never.
All right. So we've got Eric and Team Sean V right there.
Yep. That's Team Sean V. That is where I have aligned myself.
Anything else you want to add about the pitching options on FanDuel? If you were playing, so I'll address it this way, actually. Okay. If you were playing 150 lineups on FanDuel, would you be overweight to the field, at the field, or underweight on Shane McClanahan?
So I just ran some lineups because I wanted to throw it in there. I'm not going to be last second entering, and thank God for it. You know how many runs the team that I stacked up the most yesterday had? The same amount as the Atlanta Philly game that I've faded. So that was not enjoyable. 0 runs from the Angels against a bullpen that was giving up over a 7 ERA so far in the beginning of June. What are we even doing here, Angels? But anyway, yeah, I got to 36% Shane McClanahan, so I would be under the field.
Yeah, I would be as well, just for the purpose of a single pitcher. So just if anybody outscores him, it's the easiest way to differentiate on FanDuel because, I mean, same reason I like Brian Wu. It's just ownership on FanDuel. He's projected for 5% over there. So that's why I would be getting away from McClanahan.
Does Sean realize that we're not sitting here trying to tell you who's going to perform well and who's not all the time? Like, we have the same metrics that everybody else is, but like the game isn't being able to predict who's going to go nuts every time, because otherwise we'd just all play Shane McClanahan. We'd all play Mitch Keller. Those are the 2 best pitchers on the slate, but salary matters and ownership matters. And that's where Brian Wu really stands out. It would be insane if you didn't feel that way.
Brandon Katz's dad said something very funny in YouTube chat. Very funny in YouTube chat. I want to give him a shout out because I got to get
Jesus Christ.
I got to get chuckle out of it. Throw him in a scuba mask.
We all live in. No, we don't.
We hate the damn machine. We want to paint it green. Yeah. So for whatever reason, I get that stuck in my head all the time. I don't even know
Yellow Submarine.
No. There's like a parody of it. I don't know who makes the parody. I heard it once when I was like 8 years old, and I've had it stuck in my head for 25 years.
Some Weird Al knockoff.
Probably.
Fun.
Probably something like that.
Fun.
Anything else you want to add about the pitchers today?
Not really. Kansas City's unplayable. There's not a single person from Kansas City that would go on there unless you felt that all 5 starting pitchers were going to get murdered on a slate that all has 7 and 7.5 totals. I think on FanDuel, you're just simply clicking on any of the 5. Domingo Germán's still my least favorite. Brian Wu, probably with leverage, the guy that's the easiest to get over in large field tournaments. You then can also, it's just weird because then some of the expensive bats, like my favorite thing on DraftKings to do today is play Bobby Witt at 5,500 and hope he's the only guy who does anything against McClanahan. Like I'm playing 3 lineups. And again, I like the Bobby Witt one-off against my pitcher in that spot. Like I'm enjoying some of these type of builds and some of these short slate MLBs. There are rules, but there aren't really rules. And I think when you have the salary to get up to some of these guys, it doesn't always behoove you. So that's where like Brian Wu still needs to outperform McClanahan, Keller, and Garrett, because there's really nowhere to spend your money on this slate on FanDuel. So I think you got to be a little bit careful with it, but there's no doubt that the positive leverage you're getting on him makes up for it.
Yeah, and by the way, also, so Eric and I are we'll build some lineups in the lineup generator in a second. We're going to look for some of our favorite prize picks plays, but also want to shout out, we have a podcast channel. And if you guys want to get access to stuff like our strategy show, some of our short form videos that come out in the morning with just general wrap-ups of the slate in like 6-7 minutes, Josh does his contenders videos, go subscribe to the Stochastic YouTube channel. And also, if you'd be so kind, leave us a 5-star review just because it helps us. Right? You're not going to benefit from us, but we will. So do us a favor, leave a 5-star review on your Google Play, Android, wherever it is you listen to your podcast. Leave us a 5-star review and subscribe to the Stochastic podcast channel. But Jordan, let's build some lineups in the MLB lineup generator. I want to see what comes out. And I do think we should be trying to build some contrarian lineups for this. And also, I want to shout out Letus Brutalis, who yesterday in our Discord channel, I should say. Did you see this, Eric? He used the lineup generator, played 1 lineup last night, and won $50,000. He won the main contest over on DraftKings with the lineup generator.
That's so cool. My God, that's so cool. Congratulations.
And, oh, you know what? I just realized the main slate was earlier. We don't even have the lineup generator to use.
Nope, we don't have it for this slate.
I forgot about that.
Nope,
I'm so used to the night slate being the main slate, but this isn't the main slate.
Somehow Adam weaseled his way out of doing this show, though. It's you and me, baby. The guys who are on every show all the time, working every day. What's Adam up to right now? What bar is he at, and can we go join him?
You know what? Adam, who's just killing the game on Twitter as of late, he's kind of earned it. He's kind of earned it.
Oh, stop.
Do you, I mean, like, I don't even know if this is information I'm allowed to give out, but Adam is like the top salesman at the company over the last Wait. But Eric, who turned his camera off, Eric, come back for a second. Tell it to Jordan Klein. True or false?
True.
Actually,
no. Okay, true. It's fine.
It's true. It is 100% true. Adam killing the game with his Twitter videos, highlighting the Sims tool. Say it one more time, Eric. Which person working at Stochastic.com has generated the most sales this week?
Adam, ship my beer share. There we go.
He's so beside himself that he can't even say his name.
Thank you, honey. Here we go.
Right away, he got disheveled like Jordan looks right now. He had to have a drink delivered to him.
Did.
Oh my God.
I did. It's a good life I live.
Well, you know what we can do though? We could help everybody by building out some prize picks cards. That's something we could do right now. And if you guys want to go sign up for our pick'em package, super cheap way to get access to it. You sign up for the first time using the link below in the description box. You get access to that for less than $5. You are going to get in there projections for prize picks, for no house advantage, for underdog. And it's going to tell you what the lines are, the projection we have, the odds of it going over or under. I know there's only 3 games tonight, Eric, but has anything stand out to you for prize picks for this small slate?
A couple of things. So the first one was Randy Arozarena. What would you guess his batter hitter score is at? It's gone now. It's not even on the board anymore, so it doesn't even count. They took it off. So Yeah, so that one's gone. Good talk. Glad we had it. Pitcher fantasy score. Mitch Keller. FanDuel scoring. What do we have him projected for?
Let me pull this up. Mitch Keller, we have projected for over on FanDuel for about 32.5 fantasy points.
Perfectly efficient. Son of a bitch. This is just this is a difficult one today. Again, don't place things just to place them. But if you're looking for anything today, I think correlation is your best way to go, whether it's Yandy Diaz, but now they took off every other Ray off the board besides him. So that makes it a little more difficult for me. Don't really see anything that I want to go crazy for. I guess Gleyber Torres at the top of the lineup. We've talked about Woo however many times, but I got to think 6.5 is a pretty low number for Gleyber at the top of, or near the top of that lineup. Where are we at here on DK? Again, it's tough sledding on a 3-game MLB slate with limited options, but let me find Gleyber because I have a feeling that's going to be the guy that I had pinpoint. Yeah, I would slightly be on the over of that. There's nothing that really stands out to me. If you want anything, maybe, yeah, they don't even have the first inning runs allowed. Go to that. The 0.5 first inning runs allowed has Mitch Keller with Jose Cuas, the starter from Kansas City. So that's a difficult duo to have. They're not going to give us Keller and Braxton Garrett together even. Let's go to the earned runs allowed. Mitch Keller, less than 2.5 earned runs allowed. There's my answer. Found it.
All right. Less than, did you say it was 2 or 2.5?
2.5. We got the hook there. That's beautiful. I have him for less than 2.
Just for comparison's sake, let me check what it is on DraftKings, because I still have that open based on the question we got before about the Shane McClanahan win, because I know they have that market there. So let's see. If I go to pitcher props, earned runs, McKellar. Yeah, so by the way, this is going to make you feel even better about that. Mitch Keller, over under 2.5 earned runs, but it's plus money on the over, juice towards the under.
Makes me pretty happy. I've got him at 1.8, so I'm going to take less on 2.5 earned runs allowed. Glad we found something for the people.
How about these other ones? Any interest in these pitcher strikeout combos? Mitch Keller and Braxton Garrett, 12 strikeouts. Brian Wu and Domingo Germán, 11.5. Just kind of interesting combinations that I'm seeing as I'm looking at prize picks here. Does either of that stand out to you, or do you think those are more or less fair?
Sounded fair off the top. Let me pull this up as well.
I'm going to look at our strikeout projections.
It seems a little bit iffy. Yeah, those seem pretty efficient to me.
Yeah, we have Mitch Keller at 6.3, Braxton Garrett at 5.8. Then we've got Brian Wu at 6.1, Domingo Germán at 5.5. Yeah, right in
What are you
line
talking
with
about, Noah Levinson? I locked the under on that game on Pittsburgh and Miami. I have the under of it. I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, of Eric's plays got negative line movement. None of them. I was heavy on San Diego today. That went my way. Beat closing line value on that one. Then added Snell K's along with the money line a little bit later for everybody in the premium Discord. And I finished it out 7.5. I'm on the under of from FanDuel Sportsbook yesterday, minus 105. It's now 7, minus 115 on the under. So there you go.
All right. I'm looking through some of these other ones here. Pitches thrown, Mitch Keller, 98.5. Shane McClanahan, 93.5. Gonna stay away from that. Domingo Germán, his overall. Oh, here's kind of an interesting one. Braxton Garrett, his over-under for outs is 16.5. So it's basically, does he get through 6 innings? That's a really low line. You need him to get through, well, not even through 6 innings. Basically, you need him to start the 6th inning.
Pull this up here. Duke agrees. Duke loves it.
What is Duke doing down there?
Just having a ball. So, I mean, part of it for Braxton Garrett is we hadn't seen him hit 90 pitches until his last outing. That was his first time hitting 90, period, all season long. He had been mid-80s, but they've had a pretty quick hook on Braxton Garrett at times this season. He had it motoring. What's your prize tonight? Last time out against Washington. I don't know, 90 pitches, capped out. I think, I'm probably with you where I would be leaning towards that on more, but I think it's pretty close to efficient. I mean, he's been 5 5 1/3, 5, 5 1/3, 5, 5 1/3 in 6 of his last 8.
All right. So here's one that I think you're going to feel really strong about.
Okay.
Wayne Madsen, over under 23.5 runs in the cricket match tonight.
I have to flip out for one more second. Noah Levinson, you obviously watched my video. You did not listen to anything I gave for analysis regarding Aaron Nola. It was a completely different starting pitcher projected yesterday. The game got rained out after my video, and I specifically said to the people, if Aaron Nola is pitching, do not play this. And obviously it moved. Like, come on.
Can I tell you a funny story about Aaron Nola in that game?
Sure.
So my dear friend, Nick the Picker, is away right now, and he's in a state that doesn't have betting. So he called me this morning.
In an asylum?
To bet for him. It was he is institutionalized, but only for the next 3 or 4 years. And he called me and asked me to place a bet for him on over 4.5 runs for the Atlanta Braves.
Oh,
do you know how many runs they scored today?
Yeah, they scored 5 in extras, right?
And they had 0 runs going into the 10th inning. They scored 5 runs in the top of the 10th. And he was calling me very excited. It was very funny.
That is outrageous. Outrageous.
Different ways to analyze that game and the results there. Anything else that's standing out to you from Prize Picks? Any of these other cricket lines that look good to you?
Yeah, no, I was looking at Aussie football. I was trying to, break it down for the people. Get down with your bad self. Can't really do it. NCAA baseball tonight, though. Everybody's going to be watching Rhett Lauder, Paul Skinnis, the LSU guy as well. Look at their pitcher strikeout props. It is through the roof. I like more on Rhett Lauder there, the Wake Forest starter, going a little bit slept on here. Everybody's going to look at Paul. He's got the ridiculous stuff. But Rhett Lauder, don't go sleeping on him. I think there's some value there on old Wake Forest. I know they're the number 1 team here, but everybody's looking at LSU.
We've got Rinpax in the chat saying, don't aid on cricket. Virat Kohli is a GOAT. Well, how about Rishi Patel for over or under 19.5 runs tomorrow? He plays for, he's playing against but this can't be a real place. Northamptonshire. That's just a lot of places jammed together to make one name.
Sounds like we're the Hobbits, the first breakfast, second breakfast. They know that?
It's
Pip and Tom.
Northamptonshire. It's a suburb. It's a suburb.
I don't think they know about third breakfast, Greg.
It's the suburb that Bilbo Baggins lived in, Northampton.
That's the hardest I've ever seen Jordan laugh. That was a good one. He's like, that was pretty good.
Also, every single cricket team is something shire. You go through these teams. It's Leicestershire, Northamptonshire, Lancashire, Derbyshire. Every single location, it's a shire. This whole thing is fake. It is just as fake as Lord of the Rings.
Click on the tennis tab. Is every girl who plays tennis like a 10 now? What happened?
So either a 10 or like a 3.
Buddy, go to the tennis page. Just stay on the tennis page.
All right. So what are some of the tennis props for today?
Buddy, I don't know, but I'm...
All right. So tennis props, let's see. All right. So I see what you're looking at here. So Alex de Minaur, over under 23 games. I assume that's who you're talking about.
Yeah. Hi. How about Donna Vekic? Hi.
How about over under 23 total games for Holger Vitus Nodskov Rune? You like the over or the under? There's only 3 baseball.
The way you said those names was just incredible.
That's his name. He plays for the Queens Club. That's where the match is taking place. Sebastian Corda. I got to be honest. I'm looking through some of these. I don't even know which ones are the guys and which are the girls for some of these pictures.
Yeah, but I'm saying most of the ones that I mean, Lin Zhu, hi. Hello.
Barbora. I'm not even trying to pronounce her shitty last name. Is the biggest forehead I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's not nice. Now we're done. We're done. You took it too far. You took it too far.
Like, I mean, no, I'm concerned. Did she get hit with a racket?
She's a nice lady, Greg.
Pronounce her last name then.
I can't.
All right. We've got a super chat from Brian Durkay.
Oh, yeah, baseball.
Oh, yeah, it's baseball related question. I don't know why he's not asking us more about cricket. But
Yeah,
Brian Durkay says one leg of his parlay left for a lot of money, Seattle money line or cash out. Thanks. So the cash out option is almost never the way to go. I do feel like we need more context here, though.
We do.
Like, I don't know what line you have. I don't know what the payout is. I don't know what the cash out options are. The cash out option is almost certainly bad. Those offers are typically close to criminal. You're getting like 50% of your expected value on those. So almost never a cash out. The right answer is almost always to just ride it out.
Yep.
Almost always. And the reason, so you, Brian, you might lose your parlay, this individual. And I know you said for a lot of money. What does a lot of money mean? Is it life-changing money? If it is life-changing money, then yeah, go ahead and hedge. But if this is just like money you would like to win, that isn't going to significantly change your life, the way to get the most EV out of these parlays when you have a chance to win is you let it ride.
Yes, Gregory. I've never, I mean, part of it is that I don't have the opportunity to, but like I still, it's just something you want to absolutely be preaching all the time. It's such negative expected value. The only time I think I would ever cash out is if I was able to react to an injury in the moment that was like momentous, like a quarterback getting hurt in the NFL or a starting pitcher after 2 innings being pulled with an injury. Like if you're able to react to those, awesome. But if you're not, there is no point.
Jejena Ostapenko looks like every girl I went to Hebrew school with.
Oh my God. Jesus. We got to go on.
I'm just looking through the list. Over under 21 total games is her prize.
I am so shocked you're not married, Greg.
By the way, if you guys want to go sign up at Prize Picks and get access to cricket lines, you will literally not find anywhere else. Tennis lines, you probably won't find anywhere else. You sign up using our link up to a $100 bonus on your first deposit and 1 free month of Stochastic Plus Platinum. Let's go and talk about some stacks here tonight, Eric. And, you know, a lot of this is going to correlate with the pitchers we talked about. The pitchers we liked, we're probably not going to like the stacks. The pitchers we disliked, we're probably going to like the stacks. But if you were only stacking one team tonight, only one team, who would be the team that you would go with in that one lineup?
Seattle.
You know what's funny? I was kind of on the fence about it earlier, where I was like, I could be talked to going to another stack. And I don't usually do this. I am going to stick with the Mariners just for spite of Sean V.
You're going to play the Woo Sean V correlation. Make sure you. Oh, it's official. Grasso and Shevchenko facing off. Good thing I bought those cards today. That feels good. Sorry. It's the team I was most likely going to play anyway. It's the placeholder lineup they had in there. They also project as the #1 leverage stack for us, which the ownership is so spread out today, and we have such positive leverage on the Seattle Mariners. There's not another team on this slate that we've projected really with positive leverage, like a little bit of positive leverage on the Tampa Bay Rays, but by far the #1 leverage score here. We have a 5.8% leverage on the Seattle Mariners, and that's kind of it in terms of anything that's positive. So our tools also back it up. Sean V's opinion also, I think, adds a little bit of fuel to the fire. Definitely does.
Seattle Mariners, I think that's the team to get to today.
Jam spot now. Jam spot. I was going to say, I could have come up with some reasons to not go there, but the fact that he's not there in such a prominent way, it's kind of a no-brainer now, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's what I'm sticking with. And by the way, like, I don't think any of these stacks look terrible today other than the Royals.
Royals look bad. Other than, again, Bobby Witt is a one-off I keep landing on. I have him in 2 of my 3 lineups. I'm just looking for that solo shot, baby. And shortstop sucks. Like, shortstop is not a fun position today.
Yeah, let's see. What do we have available at shortstop? It is... I'm pulling up the shortstops that we have. So we have Bobby Witt. And by the way, ownership at shortstop, incredibly spread out. The most popular shortstop tonight is John Birdie at 22.7% ownership. The lowest owned starting shortstop tonight is Volpe at 14.4%. Basically, every single starting shortstop has almost the exact same ownership.
I'm going to go Bobby Witt.
Yeah, I think if you had to roster one hitter, against one of your pitchers, I think Bobby Witt against Shane McClanahan is not a bad choice.
Yep, that's where I'm going. One time dealer, one time.
Do you have a second favorite stack today?
This is probably where I'm having the toughest time. I'm trying to, I mean, I can tell you I have, and it's not necessarily what I want here at the moment. God, this is just so brutal. It's such a brutal hitting slate. I have Kansas City stacked up purely for leverage purposes, but I hate it. They're my least favorite stack. I think they should be. Seattle, 1. And then I think the Pitt Miami game should be absent a lot of runs. I'm probably going to go the Tampa Bay direction, but it's so damn chalky. And then I like getting to the Keller and McClanahan combination. It's difficult without playing Mejia to really make anything work there. Mejia and Brujan, your two pieces of salary relief, but they are by far the worst hitters in that lineup by a landslide. 1 through 7, 4K plus for every single bat over on DK. I'm finishing it out now. I'm probably going to stick with Tampa Bay here, and I'm going to just go to your Brian Wu character, and that's going to make my life work better.
We just got a lot of information about Ostapenko from Andrew Tig in chat. Okay. He said Ostapenko won the French Open in 2017. She was the first unseeded player ever to win. I mean, who knows? Like, you know which players are and aren't virgins? Like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Jesus. By the way, that's extremely unnecessary information to throw into the YouTube chat. The first unseeded player to ever win the French, to win the French Open or just a major? I don't know. I don't even know. How did he get that information? Google?
How does anybody get their information? I don't even know.
Wikipedia, probably.
Yeah, that probably has to be.
Interesting. You got to love the fun facts you can dig up on the internet, though. Do you have a least favorite stack, a team that you'd be looking to fade today?
I mean, probably the Yankees at this point. I mean, they are the team that I ended up fading, but again, I'm not really opposed to any stack today, which is, I mean, they're the most popular stack. That's the main reason that I'm opposed to them. They have no value within it, but they have the quote unquote 18 minus Judge, which is a gigantic missing piece, but still, I think there's a case to be made for everything. You're going to get to the flip of this, and it's really about how you make your lineups. And that's where I think the edge of this slate is just making sure, and like a single entry, I think just playing a hitter against your pitcher can make you so much, it can make your stack, make everything kind of work for you in a way that other people aren't going to do. And then it's got to be the Yankees, though. That's the only answer.
If I had to pick one just based on our top stacks to come underweight to the field too, would be the Yankees. There's no team that, I mean, the Royals are projected for 11% ownership.
But they have two of the best position players in Perez and Bobby Witt with the platoon. So, like, I think there's at least a case to be made for individual hitters. It's just that as a stack, they're kind of abysmal.
And then the most popular stack on the slate, the only team that's really projected for way more ownership than any other team, we have the Tampa Bay Rays projected for 24.5% ownership on DraftKings. They do have 28% top stack odds, though. So the ownership on Tampa Bay, is it too much for you at 24.5% as a team? I did want to avoid them in single entry where I think they're going to be really popular. But large field tournaments, how would you be handling Tampa Bay?
I would probably end up overweight to them if I had to guess. Again, no Sims tool for this. So I'm basically, I feel so naked. I feel like I'm flying blind. I'm naked like Jordan Klein over there. But Randy Arozarena, I'm pretty positive he's going to be extremely popular. He's the highest projected hitter in that lineup. Then I think it opens up a little bit. And I think Josh Lowe, based on our numbers here, is probably going to be the guy that I would get to the most if I were playing more than just the 3 lineups I have. He's in one of my 3 here. I like getting to him. He's just had outrageously good numbers against righties this entire season. Now, they are going to have a bullpen situation where they're going to bring in a lefty, and then God knows how long things are going to work out there. But you go through this entire bullpen, there's not a whole lot. Jose Cuas, if he gets to go at least, 1 inning, probably faces 5, maybe 4, depending. They're going to bring in Austin Cox is his name, lefty. In that scenario, he'll still left on left in that spot. Not a ton of turnover. I think Kansas City's probably still a spot you can target with Josh Lowe, as long as he doesn't get pitch hit for. But it is, I guess, a little bit of a risk. I'm just going to do it in one of 3 and be fine with it. Luke Raley, probably the same thing applies to him, but a little less so now that he's been moved up to the 2 hole and has been in the lineup against lefties more often.
Super chat from Ace of Spade. Usually we start the show by answering his question about DK tiers. Today, looks like we're going to be finishing the show because Ace of Spade has left us a super chat, wants to know our favorite options for DK tiers. And I've got them sitting up here because that's usually how we're starting the show, is answering Ace of Spade's question. But tier 1, that is going to be Randy Arozarena for me. Do you have this up, Eric? If not, I could just read it.
Yep, I do. Randy Arozarena.
Tier 2 for me, Yandy Diaz. It's also super easy to stack on a 3-game slate in tiers.
Yep. Yeah, it would be Yandy Diaz for that, straight up.
Tier 3, there are a number of Rays you could go to here. Luke Raley, Josh Lowe, Taylor Walls. If you wanted to go outside of Tampa Bay, you got Luis Arraez, Jared Kelenic, Cal Raleigh. For me, though, I'm going to go with Josh Lowe in tier 3. How about yourself?
See, that's the contrarian piece that I like. It's just a question, does Margot come in for him there? That could be a disaster.
Tier 4, got a couple more Rays we could go to here. Jose Siri, Isaac Paredes. I'm going to go with Paredes.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. All right. Seems like you're
Jose Siri as well. No, I was just deciding whether or not I wanted to have like 5 to 7 there and go to Siri, or if I wanted to go to him. I can tell you who I will not click on, Harrison Bader. Enjoyed that.
Tier 5. We don't have any Rays to go to in tier 5 or tier 6. So tier 5, this is a really tough one. I'm going to go with DJ LeMahieu, but I don't really like any of the answers here, to be honest.
Yeah, Cabrian Hayes would be my guy there just because he's leading off righty on lefty, but nothing all that appealing in that entire bracket.
And then tier 6, I'm going to go with Teoscar Hernandez. We were talking about before Domingo Germán. He's a reverse splits pitcher. He's been considerably worse against righties than lefties this year. So I do think the Mariners righties are in a really good spot tonight. Give me Teoscar Hernandez for the power upside. He's been really inconsistent this year, but we know the kind of upside he has.
Yep, Ty France for me, but they are within 0.1 of each other. So there you go.
All right. So that is going to do it for tiers. Thank you very much for the super chat, Ace of Spade. I'm going to go check our Discord channel to make sure we did get a question came in here. This is Swanson79. He placed second in the MLB solo shot using the lineup generator last night. 2 nights in a row where he placed second using a lineup from the lineup generator. How about that?
That's fantastic stuff.
And if you guys want to sign up for it, it's for the main slate, so we weren't able to really feature it on the show today, but you can sign up for the lineup generator using the link in the description box below and get access for less than $5. We had somebody win 50 grand in the relay throw with it last night. We had Swanson79 second in back-to-back days using a lineup from the lineup generator. By the way, Neil Orfield last night came in third in the Moonshot, the $3 tournament, also playing a lineup from the lineup generator. So lots of success with those as of late. That is going to bring us to the end of the show, though, Eric. Any final things to add here?
What a disgusting slate this was. But you know what? It's kind of fun to be able to break down low totals, grueling pitching. And I'm really cheering for Brian Wu tonight now. Just down with the sickness. Let's go. Sean V.
All right. Brian Wu, Seattle Mariners. Let's go Seattle tonight. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget also, check out our podcast channel. If you guys want to listen to us on podcast, Stochastic Podcast channel, wherever you listen to your podcast, leave us a 5-star review because we would appreciate it. Everybody, good luck tonight. Hope you all win some lineups. See you back here tomorrow.